Good evening, FBLA. Welcome to Florida's December webinar. I'm Zachary Sahin, your Florida FBLA State President, and I hope tonight we can help you get the holiday season off to a great start with some spectacular information. Now to introduce your state officer team. First, we have Nathan Walters, your state reporter.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming back tonight. We really appreciate it.
Who will not be joining us tonight. Following that is Shady Mina, your state secretary.
Good evening, future business leaders of America. Thank you so much for being here today, and we look forward to a wonderful webinar.
Next, we have Alexandria Brown, your Region 1 Vice President, who unfortunately is unable to join us tonight. Now introducing Ashley Harris, your Region 2 Vice President. Technical difficulties, so she may be able to say hello right now.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be having another webinar with you guys tonight. Yes, I will be having some technical difficulties as I'm using a different computer tonight, but I'm sure it's going to be a great one.
Thank you, Ashley. And finally, last but not least, we have Zahra Barrow, your Region 4 Vice President.
Hey guys, so glad you guys can make it out with us today. Hope your holiday season's going great and can't wait to share some great information with you all.
Thank you, Zahra. In tonight's webinar, we'll be focusing on what it means to be a leader. And tonight, we'll be joined by Max Michel, your National FBLA President.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be back here.
Thanks for joining us. I'm excited that you're going to be here to give us some insight into what's going on the national level, as well as what leadership means to you. So first off, before we go any further, just a few updates on what's going on. Survival guide is going to be coming out very soon. It's been sent out to the board, and they're currently going through the process of editing, revising, and going through the process. To you for a sort of early happy holiday gift from our team to you. Next is the state officer visit form. If you go in the description below, you can click and find this form, and you can still sign up for a state officer to you. You can also email us if you have any questions. Now to Max to give us a national update on what is going on the national level.
Hi, everyone. So one big thing that we have that we recently just launched a project from our national treasurer is the financial literacy website. This contains stuff for educators, for students, for anyone that can be involved in FBLA. The link is in the description below, and you can access it at fbla.org/fin literacy. And you can find lessons, you can find different curriculums that will help you become more financially literate. And a huge thanks to last year's National Treasurer, Nicholas Lazar, and this year's National Treasurer, Tyler Thomas, for continuing this project and making sure that it's ready for all the members to use. So we really want to encourage that, and we really want to promote that use throughout the year because it's brand new. So we really want to make sure that it's available for all of you.
Thank you, Max. We're now going to move on to the main portion of the night. So first off, what are the qualities that make a great leader? First thing first, communication is essential. I know it's kind of cliche and it's been said thousands of times, but communication is the foundation for everything. It's what set up the relationship between you and your team, between you and the people that you are leading. You're using different types of communication to work with different types of people, and make sure the communication you're using fits and adheres to that situation. Every situation is different. Every person responds. So whenever you're trying to communicate, make sure it works for them. Next up is Zahra.
All right, so another good quality of a leader is someone who owns up to their mistakes. Let's face it, nobody's perfect, so everyone's going to make mistakes. But a good leader doesn't put the blame on others and doesn't expect too much from their fellow peers or their followers. A good leader owns up to it and helps them improve from that. So when you own up to your mistake, you're more likely to be respected because you aren't putting yourself at a higher pedestal. You're showing your team that you are human and you make mistakes, that's okay. As long as you pick yourself up and work hard next time, you could always improve, and that's a great learning experience for both you and your team. You know, one moment in history that I like to note is during the Civil War, after the Battle of Gettysburg, General E. Lee He was the general for the Confederacy States of America. After losing that battle, you know what he said to the president of the Confederacy? He said it was my fault. He didn't blame it on his soldiers. He didn't blame it on the leaders of the he didn't blame it on the Union. He didn't blame it on his soldiers. Sorry for my stuttering. But he took the blame. He took the honor, and then he used that to help progress them. He didn't use that as a setback. He used that as a chance to move forward. So yeah, everyone makes mistakes, but the thing that sets a leader apart from other people is they own it and they use it as a learning experience, not as something that they always will look back and regret, but something they look forward for the future.
Thank you, Zahra. And now for quality number 3, Ashley, you're up.
Hey guys, so I'm going to be covering the never show weakness. So there's a difference between owning up to your mistakes and showing your weaknesses. As a leader, there are people looking up to you and they see that if you're worried about something or not confident in something, that's how they're going to feel. The leader is the security blanket of the team, basically. The leader needs to seem like they always have a plan, even when they don't, to prevent stress in the team. Keep your guard up and stay strong, and it's okay to mess up sometimes, but always try to stay grounded. It's the same thing with sports. You have a captain, you have your co-captains, you want to really look to them for leadership and guidance. So take it from a person who's under the captains or co-captains. If you see they're stressed out, you're probably going to feel stressed out yourself and unprepared. So step up and be that leader, be that captain, and really show them that be confident in whatever you do and just be the leader for them.
Thank you, Ashley. Even with technical difficulties, she's still doing an incredible job. Buddy is Nathan.
Okay, so basically when you're a leader, one of the most important things is that you're always considerate to the people around you. One of the most important things is that you're able to get to know the team that you're working with, because at the end of the day, people are not going to cooperate with you as well if they don't trust you, and that if you're not being nice to your team members. Because at the end of the day, it is a team. It's not just one person doing it all. You have to make sure that as long as the team functions, the jobs will get done. And like I said, this is going to create trust and reliability in the team, and they'll end up caring about you as well. So you'll be making a mutual friendship. You don't want to be feared by everybody, because if you do, nobody's going to come to you or nobody's going to get done what you asked them to do. So just every once in a while, just make sure you go up to them and start a conversation and say, hey, how's it going? And just do a little more than just saying, hey, and just keep walking. It's really important that you have that kind of relationship between them so that they trust you and you can trust them. And then that's going to lead us into the next part of the webinar, is are leaders born or made? And I think it's spoken for itself. Leadership isn't an easy thing to do. If it was, every single person in this world could be considered a leader. It takes courage. Sometimes you have to be the person to just stand up and step in front of a crowd and just speak their mind and speak for the rest of the group. Sometimes people don't feel that they've reached their full potential, but that's why it's important that we have mentors. And in FBLA, our mentors are our advisors, and our advisors are essential to our success in this club and in our future as well. They're meant to help guide you and bring the best out of every single member. So sometimes you just need that little push, and that'll lead you into the right direction.
Thank you, Nathan. Outstanding job. Next up, Zahra and Max are going to be sharing some personal stories about their experiences in leadership positions, as well as sort of how it shaped who they are today. Who would like to get us started?
I guess I'll go ahead and get us started really quick. So in Florida FBLA, we all know that December, January is kind of the district leadership conference time. And so that's where my story starts. My freshman year of high school, I wanted to run for a district officer position. And so, and some people have heard this many times, but if not, then I guess you're in for a treat. But I wanted to run for a district officer position, and it was January, and I wrote my speech. I didn't really rehearse. I really didn't prepare too much ahead of time. And when I got up on stage, I kind of forgot the entire speech, and it was really embarrassing. And I was just standing on stage like a deer in headlights. But the moment of leadership for me is realizing that leadership is never a direct path. And so clearly being able to speak in front of 13,000 people at the National Leadership Conference, you know, you can't just go from forgetting your speech to doing that just by waking up every single day. And so what I had to find out is that, of course, there's going to be barriers, and of course, there's going to be struggles over time. But what's important is that you pick yourself back up, because as soon as that happened, I reflected for a little bit. I thought about what I did wrong. I thought that, you know, I thought of what I could have done to be better. I worked with my advisor and my officer team and chapter members to kind of analyze where I went wrong. And then from there, I was able to start building up better characteristics of self-discipline, responsibility, things like that. And through that, I was able to grow myself into a better leader than one who would just prepare the night before. And that will catch up to you one day or not. Whether you're a freshman right now or whether you're a senior, you'll understand that one day it's going to catch up to you, and you can't really do everything the night before. So for me, that was the moment when I kind of realized what it meant to be a leader is to not give up and to kind of pick yourself back up and reflect on what went wrong, and to make sure that you had every opportunity to build on your mistakes and move forward.
Thank you, Max. And even though I've heard that story multiple times, it gets better every single, a little bit more to it each time. Zahra, would you like to share?
Hi, guys. So I kind of have 3 points to being a leader, and then I'm going to share my personal experience with that. So point 1 is that the greatest leader wasn't always that way. It's like what we talked about. Leaders aren't necessarily born. They're kind of made through training, through passion, through dedication, and so forth. So one thing about me is that when I was in middle school, I was very shy, insecure. I was soft-spoken. I kind of just did what people wanted just to avoid any conflict or any pretty much interaction. So I would sacrifice my time, my effort, energy, and everything into doing tasks for my peers. And the problem with that is that it didn't help them or improve them as a being or myself. So that's when you have to take a step back and realize, why am I doing this? Because as a leader, your goal is to help improve you and your team. So these tasks I was doing for people that I was putting in a lot of effort and time, it wasn't helping me or it wasn't helping them. So that was a moment where I kind of realized that I wanted to get out of my shell and kind of grow as a leader and as a person. So I started doing these small tasks. So the first thing I did was go to my first state leadership conference in 7th grade. And it's really funny because my middle school was the only school in our district. So when I found out that I placed in business math first place, I was like, really? Wow, I can't believe this. Little did I know I was the only person who was in that competition. But, you know, I was very proud of that. So I got to go to states, but I was the only 7th grader there. And the rest, like from my middle school, the rest of them were 8th graders. And, you know, they're all friends. So that was very awkward. But that was a chance for me to room with them, talk with them, kind of interact with people, you know, not just be a shy little girl who stays in her room all the time. You know, I took a step and asked them if I can play cards with them because they're all playing Uno in a circle, and I didn't want to just be left out again. So that was kind of taking those small little steps, climbing the ladder to help boost your confidence, boost your self-esteem and so forth. You know, take that initiative to take the next step and so forth. The next thing I did was FBLA Idol in 8th grade. And it's a funny story. I talked about it before, like Max has said his story a few times. You guys have probably heard it a few times. I sang a song for the judges at FBLA Idol. Fun fact about me, I cannot sing. I thought I could. I thought I was a little bit decent, but I realized how bad I was when the judges cut my microphone off. And the thing is, sure, they cut your microphone off. That's bad and all. But I didn't realize they cut my microphone off. So I kept singing for a while. Like, there was no microphone. I'm still singing. And the judges had to get up and say, okay, it's over. So that was funny. And even while they were critiquing me as a joke, of course, this is all fun and laughs, I was still laughing and having a great time. And, you know, I sat back down and I continued to sing quietly to my friends. And if it's no surprise, I didn't win the competition, but it was still a lot of fun. And it helped me get out of my comfort zone. You know, I knew I wasn't going to win. I did it for fun, and it was a great experience. Next thing I did was when I went to high school, you know, I feel in middle school had really helped me a lot. I was less shy, I was less insecure, and I had more confidence. But at the same time, I wasn't the full leader I wanted to be. I didn't want to just be a member. I wanted to be more involved in FBLA because it had helped me so much. So I went to the advisor, 9th grade, it was the first week of high school, and I was like, hey, can I be the officer, please? He was like, we never really had a freshman officer before. And I was like, okay, I'll be an officer in training. I kept bothering him for a few let me be an local chapter officer ever since. So that took a lot of courage to go up to a teacher. I didn't have his class. I didn't really know him. And I was just like, hey, I want to be your officer. You don't know me at all, but make me your officer. So yeah, but that was a lot of fun. I'm glad I did that. And, that helped me grow a lot, and I'm much more confident. I'm doing a webinar right now, which is kind of scary because, like I said, I tend to stutter a lot, but it's okay because got more confidence now. So the next point I want to make is a leader should know their goals and actively pursue them. So you don't want to just kind of go with the flow, I guess, in a sense you do, but at the same time, you need to have a plan, not a second by second plan, but maybe like a weekly goal or monthly goal, have a long-term goal and then short-term goals to help you in pursuit of that. So one thing is running for a state officer position. When I decided that I wanted to do that, it was a lot of things that I had to incorporate. I had to do fundraising. I had to do letting people know about my campaign, but also following the rules. And then I had to get a campaign manager. We had to do plan everything out with my speech and so forth. So there's a lot of short-term goals and short-term tasks I had to complete in order to get the long-run accomplishment. And even if I didn't win the position, I'm still grateful for it because of all the things I learned pursuing that long-term goal. So even if your goal doesn't end up happening the way you wanted it to, that pursuit, that journey can still be a great learning experience. And then the last point I want to make is a leader is strict. That's true because they need to get work done. But as we said, they need to be compassionate, kind, and understanding. So my favorite quote personally is, sorry, my camera just cut off, but is by Maya Angelou. And what she says is, excuse me if I have a few words off, but people may not remember what you said or what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And I just think that's a great way to look at it. Like, sure, they might not remember that you, I know you did some small task for them, or that you said something, they might not remember the kind words you said to them, but they remember the smile that you gave to them, that you gave to them, I guess. Yeah. So that's what you should think about as your leader when you're helping people grow, because a leader is not all about improving yourself, getting better, because there's nothing if you don't have that foundation, your team, your fellow peers. So making sure they feel happy is a great thing because that ignites innovation. And also you want to motivate people to dare to dream. And you can't do that in a nightmarish place. So that is what I have to say. Those are my personal stories and my kind of points. If you have any questions, leave them. But yeah, sorry my camera cut off. I'll try to fix it. But thank you for listening.
Thank you, Zahra, for those touching stories. They're both you and Max have very inspirational backgrounds and past with your leadership lives, and I bet many others are really appreciative that they were able to hear those and that you shared them with. So next up, Shady. Shady, you're up.
Thank you, Zach. And as we all know, being a leader, you're going to have to make a lot of tough decisions, and tough decisions can be stressful. You can be stressing about which way to go. And you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices in order to do what's best for the team. And that happens to the world's greatest leaders. It happens to all of us. I mean, for instance, if you're on a project at school with your fellow peers and you're with your friend, but let's say they're not completing assignment, and you have to think, well, I have now to do it with someone else or do it by my own. So you're going to let your friend go. And that's a tough decision. I mean, he or she is your friend, but you still need to get the grade. And by making tough decisions, you need to consider the consequences. So I encourage all of you today and for the rest of your future, when you're making tough decisions, just reflect or sit down and relax for a moment and think about the short-term consequences and the long-term consequences. Know what it's going to happen, or try to predict what's going to happen based on your decision. We all wish that if we make a wrong decision, we can come back and fix it. But it doesn't always happen that way. And that's part of the obstacle of being a leader. But from experience and from going through the different paths, as all the officers said, you're going to learn the best way to handle decisions and make sure that you follow the correct method to ensure that the team is doing a wonderful job and that you're being successful along with your other team members.
Thank you, Shady. So overall, leaders are people that inspire, motivate. They bear the torch and light the way for the future, for those to follow. And an FBLA it's an organization built of the future leaders. You are the ones who are lighting the way for the future. You're the ones who follow those words: carpe diem, seize the day; carpe momentum, seize the moment; carpe futurum, seize. You are the ones that lead the way. You are the ones that dare to dream and make this world possible. So thank you, everyone. Well, now I'm glad you were able to listen to some of our stories and a little bit about what we see as leadership and how it's affected us. But we're here to listen and answer some of your questions. So we'll move on to a Q&A portion if anyone has any questions. Okay, if there's no questions, let you guys get out of here. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great holiday. I know all of us are excited that the holiday is here and everything's coming up. Competitions are after the break. Take advantage, study over the break, work hard. Don't forget who you are as an individual, and don't forget who you are as a leader. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you. Good night.
Bye.
Night. Bye.
Guys.
Enjoy your breaks.